Alright, let this be part 1 of my spiritual diary, where I talk about what to me is spirituality and everything that comes with it, because spirituality for me includes all life, and everything life includes can be spiritualized pretty much. I mean not everything you can do and just say this is for a spirit, like do crimes and do stupid things. There is a law in it, but it's an inner law, so it is very individual what is the purpose of each individual to do here. So basing on that, my concept, my view on spiritual life, which I deem to be the first business of man. I think it is the original business that man was involved with, but for reasons of evolution we have went to all sorts of routes. And for example, I will base a lot of this on Sri Aurobindo, because I have found in his writings something that I agree with, and actually most spiritual talk and people and ideas I have got bored with, because he is so articulate and all-inclusive in what he is saying. So most other stuff is just basically it's boring for me, and I have been more interested in history and politics and war, for example, and physicality, developing myself and including that in spirituality. So what I was saying earlier, that the spirituality, it's the first business of man. It was the first whenever it started, this manhood, I think we did come from the animal, but But who knows, maybe there was always growing with the animal also something that was distinctly human, and human has had its own arc of development. Actually, Sri Aurobindo just suggests this idea that maybe like some higher primates that resemble us very closely, we have not developed from them, but maybe they are sort of degenerated humans, or like we were once coming out from the animalhood into manhood, and there has been some intermediate states, and as I see it, evolution happens kind of by jumps and effort, and maybe other parts were left behind because they could not develop, and they became the higher primates, and humanity took their own route. So that's the idea, and who knows if there was influence. I mean, there's these theories about alien influence on humanity, but maybe what we call alien influence is actually more like influence from higher planes of consciousness affecting the animal body and developing through there, and in myths it takes shape of beings coming from outside, and I also believe in beings coming from outside, like real physical things. But how, I mean, it's a how physical, maybe there is something in between physicality and more subtle physicality, but still I believe that we are creations of this earth, and we have come developed from here, and there is a goal for evolution, and humanity is the highest point of this evolution. And even though there is a goal, it can keep it always. The nature of reality is infinity, so how can it ever stop? There is always a higher level of being. But we are where we are, and there is an opportunity again for taking a step forward. I think time is changing, and as before, we have maybe when we have moved from more spiritual view of life to a more rationalistic and materialistic view. I think now the gods have decided to move again towards the spirituality, but remembering what we have gained from this age of rationality and materiality, and not go back to like ascetic and world shunning spirituality, which has been a theme, for example, in Indian spirituality. It was that you could only attain if you retired to the forest and meditated and did your spiritual work like that. And then there was the life of society that was separate from that, and they honored the spiritual people and sought for them for advice, but they were separate. I think future is to bring these realizations into life, and that's the work, that's the hard part. But I think it is future. So myself, I am on this journey, and during this year I have progressed on this road. I feel like I am taking this more seriously. I'm not giving in to my lower self so much. And yeah, what can I say about that? But just talking like from my personality, from talking about just personal life. It has been a lot more dedicated, since I can see the goal. I can feel it better, and I can be in the world, in the workplace, in the market, and in the battlefield. I can more easily remember this, and I don't need so much alone time anymore. So that's my development, and it's ongoing development. and I'm happy with it, and I keep going. I have very positive view of the future right now, because even though I see all the darkness, I just feel more and more that it's like it needs to come up so that it can be purified. And that's the reason I see suffering, but I recognize suffering as not necessary, but as part of it, because as long as we do not listen to the voice of the spirit, it will make us hurt if we do not change our ways. And there is joy and there is a light behind it, but we feel it as pain because we do not consent. And yeah, pain is the hammer of the gods to break. Something. Pain is the hammer of gods for shaping us. And if we were more pure, then it wouldn't take so much heat and so much hitting, so much worrying, and so much of this. But as it stands, it is, and there's also a joy in that, a joy in the battle, in the war. And I mean, that's what all the good stories are made of. For example, I just finished this epic by Sri Aurobindo about the war of Troy, because he deemed this very important moment in the development of humanity. He says that what I can gather from it, that it was a moment in time when Europe was made. It was a moment in time when Europe was born, actually. And we went from until that kind of Asia was the main stage for development, but Europe took charge with her reason and with her way of developing like commerce and conquests. But reason was the main thing that Europe was and is most famous for. But I think the time of reason and for reason the goddess of the Greek pantheon was Athena. And before it was Apollo, the god of Troy. The main god was Apollo, and it was a god of spiritual enlightenment and beauty and highness. But Zeus, the father of all the gods, decided that it's time for a change of guard, and this is what happened in Troy according to this legend. Very much in a shortened way and in my own interpretation of it and what I can tell about it. But I think time of Apollo is dawning us again, and all the other gods that were left behind. So there's a change of guard, and Sri Aurobindo talks that there need not be same sort of destruction of the old as the last 7 times. Now there's opportunity for transformation also. So transformation, it's where it's at for me. Personal transformation. It's an ongoing journey. So I will keep making updates whenever I feel like, and I have had also many other unfulfilled ideas for this, but for these videos something different. But I always come back to this same concept because this is most familiar and most real. But let's see what I can do with it. So thanks again for watching, and bye bye.